Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the 2018 NFL Draft Class, and specifically Tremaine Edmunds in terms of his production analytics. Tremaine Edmunds is one of those types of prospects that has gotten a ton of hype. Some people talking about him as a top 10 to top 20 overall prospect, and even some hinting that he could go over Roquan Smith. Now, I've already done a video on Roquan Smith, which you can see, later on the feed. But I figured I would get his production analytics out there early as well with Edmunds because he didn't do that poorly either. So this is gonna be a very fascinating debate, to be completely honest, between both these prospects because Roquan Smith is definitely the most productive linebacker in this class, but Tremaine Edmunds was also very productive in his own right with the other sort of height, weight, sort of maybe not prototypical size, but just upper echelon size for a linebacker. You know, like that classic sort of 1970s, 1960s linebacker is what Edmunds really reminds a lot of scouts of. So first of all, what is production analytics? So because if you don't follow my channel, if you're new to this channel, you're like, what the heck is production analytics? What is market share data? Well, market share data is essentially this. You take an individual defensive statistic and you divide it by the team total statistic. So, for example, if a linebacker has 100 solo tackles on a team that has 1,000 solo tackles, then that linebacker has 10% solo tackle market share. But what you do with that number is you take that number and you compare it to every single linebacker performance in terms of solo tackle data since the 1989 NFL draft class, and then boom, you have a way of looking in to see where he stacks up against the All-Pro players and the Pro Bowl players over the last 20 plus years. So that is what a lot of this data really deals with. It's essentially looking at, okay, this is a production trait. It's traits just like film traits. You know, film traits are you look on film, you see a guy do a certain type of thing, and say a linebacker filling a lane, right? A linebacker maintaining gap responsibility. Whatever it is, that's definitely a trait. But with production traits, it's a little bit more substance to it because you have a larger amount of information getting you to that point. So let's see how Tremaine Edmunds performed in terms of his production analytics. And he performed very, very well. Had a 93.57 solo tackle market share production score, which compared to all the linebackers that had all pro potential, he pretty much hits above that threshold, and of course Pro Bowl potential as well. So Tremaine Edmunds is essentially a linebacker who has Pro Bowl potential and All-Pro potential at his position, which is very, very rare. Not very many linebackers. Again, you're talking about a guy that was in the 90-plus percentile of solo tackle market share production data, which is the holy grail area. That's where the guys like Patrick Willis was. That's where Brian Urlacher was, Luke Kuechly, Ray Lewis, Navarre Bowman, Zach Thomas, Bobby Wagner even. Like, that is where those guys typically performed in terms of solo tackle data. So for a guy like Tremaine Edmunds to score this high, on top of being really, really young as well, because he's most likely going to be the youngest prospect in the 2018 NFL draft class, if not one of the younger ones, and his athleticism testing, which we haven't got to that yet, but looks like a fantastic athlete with length and all those other sort of factors, it's a done deal that this guy is most likely going to be a top 10 overall selection. Whether he goes over Roquan Smith is debatable, but definitely if you were considering this guy to be a top 10 selection or even a top 20 selection, he hits, from a production analytics standpoint, at least the discussion should be had right now for him to be a top 10 overall player based on his production analytics, let alone the age factors and the other sort of factors that could play into things like his athleticism testing if he does test amazing as an athlete. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.